Guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video on my channel, Hairliciously. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe so that you guys are updated on hair loss and hair transplant topics, as well as updates on current hair loss treatments in the pipeline. In today's video, I wanted to share with you an interesting post that I came across on Trestless. And this isn't something that you see every day, but this guy basically went to the extremes of treating his hair loss, at least in my opinion, to reverse his hair loss through the use of hormone replacement therapy. So before I dive into this video, this guy was born biologically male and he identifies as a transgender woman. And, it kind of came to his advantage because it apparently helped him transition from male to female and also helped him reverse his hair loss in the process. Now, with that said, let's go straight into the post because he shared with us a lot of photos, helpful photos to kind of help us see how his transition took place. So these are some of his photos before his transition, and the top two photos were taken when he was attending university in his late to early 20s. He obviously has a receding hairline, and I would probably, place him somewhere between a number 3 and then followed by the photos below, which shows him with a shaved head. He states that he started receding after his university years, but I think it's pretty clear that he likely was suffering from miniaturization prior to that based on the initial photos. He also said that he shaved his head because the hairline was too masculine. And then this next photo here shows him skipping a day or two of shaving. And, it's pretty apparent, once again, that he is closer to a Norwood 4 diffuse, since that island portion on the mid-scalp is thinning quite rapidly. And this is when he decided to, pull the trigger and undergo hormone replacement therapy, as he also couldn't shake off the gender dysphoria. So he shared with us his hair loss treatment regimen as well as what he used to make the transition. So he's been using minoxidil, dutasteride, estradiol, spironolactone, microneedling, and exosomes. And as you take a look at these photos here from left to right, you can see the obvious hair loss recovery and transition from the said treatment. You can still kind of see the thinness in the mid-scalp, but the hairline is definitely more defined, and there seems to be an increased density throughout. And then here is a photo of him with longer hair and also with wet hair. And although, the density improved quite a bit, you can still kind of notice a bit of thinning due to the wetness of his hair. But overall, I think it's still a huge improvement. The next set of photos here show a pretty drastic change after being on minoxidil, dutasteride, and transdermal estradiol. The subject looks much more feminine, and this is due to the fact that he's been using exogenous estrogen as well as an anti-androgen to help suppress his masculine features. Now, estrogens are the mainstay therapy for trans female patients, and the reason for this is because it suppresses the gonadotrophin secretion from the pituitary gland, leading to a drastic reduction in androgen production, and you're going to be basically left with a bunch of feminizing hormones. And since estrogen usually is not enough to achieve desirable androgen suppression, using something like dutasteride or finasteride as an adjunctive therapy is usually going to be necessary to reduce even more androgenic activity. Some of the results of taking estradiol would be breast growth, aka gynecomastia, since you're increasing estrogen levels while lowering androgens, and this guy basically is starting to look a lot more like a female. There's also going to be hair growth on the temporal regions that you see in the frontal hairline, which is another feminizing feature as a result of him taking estradiol. So here are some additional photos after starting his hormone replacement therapy, and you guys can see that his hair has definitely improved from what he used to have initially before treatment. And I think that it's pretty crazy how some people are able to respond very favorably and also reverse their hair loss to the point where a hair transplant isn't really warranted. But, this guy really wanted to take it to the next step further, and he wasn't quite 100% satisfied with the hair density. And he had actually opted to get a hair transplant to add in more density and, more importantly, to, design a more structured feminizing hairline. And I think he looks pretty good in terms of hair regrowth in these photos here. He has an established hairline, decent density, temples filled in, and I think most people would love to be in this guy's shoes, at least in terms of just strictly hair improvement, but he wanted to take it a step further and get a hair transplant. So here are some images right after his hair transplant. I don't know how many grafts that he got, but you can see a very feminine and aggressive hairline without any temporal recession. You know, it's basically just kind of dropped down, and the hairline is a lot more smoother and rounder, and it's also closed off to give that feminine effect that you see in a lot of the natural feminine hairlines. And then fast forward to a few months post hair transplant, you can see the noticeable increased breast tissue from the photo here from continued estradiol usage, as well as the hairline filling in a little bit more. Some of the photos below here show some potential shedding, which may result in shock loss, which should get better as the hairs transition back to the anagen phase of the hair cycle. But, you know, all in all, you know, this was a pretty crazy and extreme transformation, and it really shows that taking it to the extreme with the use of hormone replacement therapy like estradiol can be an option for some if they truly want to regain their hair back. Now, I personally wouldn't recommend it because there's a trade-off of great hair, but then you're going to be left with, you know, facial feminization, body fat redistribution, gynecomastia, infertility, and a bunch of other side effects you probably wouldn't want as a biological male. I've seen some people claiming to have used a topical version of estrogen in various concentration strains in hopes that the estrogen cream will bind to estrogen receptors in the scalp and produce a more conducive environment for hair loss prevention. But the only problem with a topical is that it's very poorly absorbed. So as far as my opinion, it's probably not even going to be worth exploring for as a growth promoting agent. But let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of this guy's transformation and the use of transdermal estradiol to reverse hair loss. It's definitely a more extreme, nuclear type of hair loss treatment stack that most people wouldn't do, but it's been working out in a lot of people that's been taking estradiol, and they've been able to fully reverse their hair loss from, like Norwood 6, Norwood 7, all the way back to a Norwood 2. It truly shows the importance of hormonal balance and the impact it has on the hair cycle and the hair follicle structure. I still think that the best hair loss treatment available are going to be 5-AR inhibitors, finasteride, dutasteride, oral and topical minoxidil, anti-androgens, microneedling, and I'll also be covering my new hair loss treatment regimen in a detailed video later down the road. And this is because, I did start using oral dutasteride and oral minoxidil, so I kind of wanted to talk about that more in detail and share my progress. But make sure to stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this video has been educational. If you have experience using estradiol for the treatment of hair loss, let me know in the comments, and I would love to share some results with my viewers. But thanks again, guys, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Take care.